Another crash eastbound I-10 right near 35th Avenue. It, too, is in the clearing stages. Traffic is brought to you by AZ Trimlight. Never take down lights again. Enjoy permanent outdoor lighting from AZ Trimlight. Buy now and get 20% off your installation. Visit aztrimlight.com today. John Roller, KTAR News.
After an overnight low around 39 degrees, tomorrow and Saturday we should be up around 69 degrees, and there's a chance of rain in our forecast. A 30% chance that starts Sunday night. Right now it's 60 in Cave Creek. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Becky Lynn on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes joins the Mike Broomhead Show tomorrow morning at 9:05.
All right, we're outspoken with Bruce and Gatos. Bruce is out today, should be back tomorrow. Gail is to the right of me. All right.
Politically? Sometimes. I know people are like they're spitting out their coffee.
I'm an independent.
Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm left. I'm all over the place.
Okay, all right. Hey, we got a proposed new law, and it is named after Preston Lord. Obviously, we know who he is. 16-year-old, died brutally beaten outside a Queen Creek Halloween party in 2023. I've got his number 5 jersey up in my office, and I remember him every day. I talked to his coach, who's a good friend of mine, and met some of his teammates from the basketball team, and we covered this story, from top to bottom, and we'll continue to do it. But there's now a new law, and it's named after him. Let's find out all about this law. Joining us in studio, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us what's in this Preston Lord law.
Well, one of the things that happened when we were looking at all of the peripheral charges where there were other kids ganging up on one kid was the law was just inadequate.
Okay.
Unless there was serious physical injury or a weapon or even a broken bone, it's a misdemeanor. And so we were able, because there were multiple kids, to say, well, their ability to resist was impaired, and we got it up to the lowest felony, a class 6. But that really doesn't speak, obviously, to the level of danger of this kind of behavior. I mean, Preston Lord died.
Yeah.
And so we approached Representative Matt Gress and some others, Julie Willoughby, and said, would you run some legislation to increase the punishment when it is swarming, which is what it's referred to. And so if somebody acts with 2 or more accomplices to commit an assault against an individual, now it's a class 4 felony. So instead of 1 year in prison as the starting point, it's now 2.5 years in prison. And it can't be reduced back down to a misdemeanor like a class 6.
Oh.
So there's 2 benefits to this.
So would having Preston's law over the past couple of years made a difference in charging the suspects? The answer looks like yes. 6 to a 4.
Yes. In the suspects of the other cases that we're dealing with of the Gilbert Goons, yes.
All right. Rachel Mitchell is joining us in studio, Maricopa County attorney. How does this help investigations? From what I understand, the bill will help law enforcement investigate. How so?
Well, I think that it allows them to look at the bigger picture, because what we are seeing with these groups is that they're operating as, if you will, a team. You have maybe a couple of them doing the beating, but you also have somebody else who may be blocking access to escape. You may have somebody else who's videotaping it for street cred or whatever they think
entertainment purposes. Let's call it what it is, because that's what they're doing. Look what I'm looking at on TikTok or Facebook or whatever.
Exactly. It's like clickbait. And those people are part of this. And so it allows law enforcement to look at the totality of what people are doing.
Now, I mean, this is obviously Preston's law is necessary in the day and age that we're living in with digital and swarming and all that. But I want you to put on your constitutional law hat, because what's in the news right now is one of President Trump's orders eliminating birthright citizenship. What do you think of his law that goes up against what a judge has now said is a clear violation of the 14th Amendment?
Well, I've been able to follow that a little bit. Obviously, I've been
you've been a little busy today.
Little busy today. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in court. I know that's been long an issue that has been brought up by people, and so finally it's coming to a head, and we're going to see how it works its way through courts.
Do you think it's a violation of the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship?
I would have to look at that closely, but I mean, obviously, there's a court that has said it is at this point, so we'll see.
Okay.
Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell's joining us, talking about everything from Trump, 14th Amendment, the birthright citizenship, to this new Preston Lord bill that will become a law.
I'm very hopeful that it will become a law. I can't imagine. This is not a partisan issue. This is bipartisan, and I can't imagine that it won't get an overwhelming vote by both houses of the legislature and signed by the governor.
You've been in the middle of the Preston Lord thing since it started. Was today the first time you talked to his parents who were at the press conference?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I had brought them both in, as well as his stepmom, early on before there were indictments, to basically lay out, this is going to take a little bit of time. Please bear with us. Please know that we are working on this case, and we'll keep you as apprised as we possibly can. So we have established a relationship with them, and also they're represented by attorneys, so we keep them apprised as well. So we do have a relationship with them.
What do they think of their son and this law being named after him?
You know, it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible, the situation that brought us there today. But to the extent that anything good can come out of it, anything that will prevent other parents from going through this kind of, I mean, unimaginable heartache, they're grateful to participate in. And I'm grateful that, you know, that they could shut their door and never come out of their house and have to deal with this, and they chose not to do that, and I'm so grateful.
What I see here are a bunch of kids who got in trouble doing bad things. Is there something that and I mean, you're at the end of the line when somebody's done something and they see you, they've gone too far, obviously. I don't know if you know of anything where if parents see that their kids are in trouble, what they can do to make sure that you don't come across their names. It doesn't cross your desk in any way, shape, or form when it comes to the legal system.
You know, I said that today at the press conference. The best crime is one that doesn't happen. I would much rather be on the prevention side than the prosecution side. And so, you know, if parents are aware that their kids are engaging in this kind of thing, they need to have a serious talk with them, because, you know, we're talking about a Class 4 felony, but if it goes as far as it did with Preston Lord, we're not talking about a Class 4 felony anymore. I have 7 young men under indictment for first-degree murder. That is potentially up to the rest of their lives. So this is serious, and parents need to have that communication. And if their kids are doing that kind of thing, they need to seek resources and get help.
How does Preston's law keep kids safer in Arizona?
Well, I think first of all, I don't think we can deny that there's a deterrent effect. Criminals pay attention to the law and law enforcement's response. And so this is saying, hey, we're setting this behavior aside for special attention. It's going to be enforced. You're going to be held accountable. So there's a deterrent effect. But also, if they start up this road, then we can get them and hold them in custody and hold them accountable before it gets to the point that it got to with Preston Lord.
All right, totally off of, you know, what we're talking about. I've always wanted to ask you this.
Okay.
It's the last one.
Careful.
I'm starting to sweat already.
I'm sweating for you, honey.
Most politicians sweat when I start saying stuff like that. How'd you get Randy Johnson to endorse you?
You
the
know
big
what?
unit. How in the world did that happen?
That's great.
You know what? Randy and I ran into each other when we were doing...
You ran into his knee?
Well, at, you know, my height, pretty much. Yeah. We ran into each other. We were both doing Horizon and started talking. And don't forget, Randy used to pitch in Seattle.
Sure.
So he gets what happens when you have, you know, a liberal who is running the DA's office who's not prosecuting crime. And so he's appreciative that I'm not that kind of a prosecutor, that I hold people accountable. So we got along just fine.
How about that? You asked him for his endorsement. He said, sure.
And it turns out I got to see, I was mentioning I had gotten to go to the first, second, and sixth games of the World Series. And he goes, those were my games that I pitched. So.
Oh, I remember. I'm a Yankees fan. I remember those games.
I bet
they
you
were
do.
not fun for me.
You know, the Yankees lost that World
All right,
Series in
Gabby,
2009, and so did a certain duck.
Hey, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Hey, I want to see this Preston Lord bill become a law. Let's remember
Yes,
this
absolutely.
kid, and let's keep other people safe so it doesn't happen to someone else's child. Thank you for joining us in studio.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Gail's in for Bruce. When we come back, when it comes to your kids, is a smartphone more dangerous to their health than drugs? It's a new study out. We're going to talk about it coming up next. Hey, Connecticut Water, let's get you hooked up. Here's how we get you hooked up. You say Gato sent me, right? You call the number. I'm going to give you the number, 602-910-6570. And call them and say, listen, we've got a water issue in our house. The kids don't want to drink it.